welcome to episode 4 of Stringing Along. I'm Jim Donio.
And I'm Ronnie King. And before we get started tonight, we really want to once again take this moment to thank Angelo Lutz, the executive chef and owner of Kitchen Consigliere Cafe over in Collingswood, New Jersey. If you haven't been there and you like Italian food, go. It's the greatest around. I just took a neighbor there just last week, and she liked it so much she wants to go back again. So we're going to do that, and please, whatever you can do, support Angelo at this time and all your local restaurants, because we're in a set of circumstances where the local businesses really need our help. And Angelo will treat you like you own the place.
That's great. So this week's theme is animal attractions. So as Ron and I looked back, animal themes are among the most really creative and innovative in the history of string bands. They're a lot of fun to do. I know I was in one, in Hegeman. They're very kid-friendly. They're very crowd-pleasing. They've really been favorites of all the themes through the years. Now, we will be welcoming another special guest tonight. He is one of the finest show directors ever in string bands. And he also happens to be my co-host's brother, Tom King. He'll be with us later in the show when we're remembering Ferko's iconic 1985 performance of Silly Symphony. And Tom will also talk with us about his friendship and partnership with the late, great Ferko Captain Bill Speziale.
I can't wait for that, because Jim said that I have to interview my own brother, which is going to be a little bit weird, but I think I have some questions for him he might not answer. So anyway, well, let's get started here. As Jim said, we selected this animal attractions idea to present to you these different animal themes that have been done over the years, and it is very diverse. The first band we're going to bring in is probably one of the more creative bands when it comes to taking themes that really aren't done very often, because they're risky. You never know which way they're going to go with a theme, but this one is a lot of fun. Take a look at this. This is the 1995 performance of the Aqua string band doing a theme called All Quacked Up.
this was such a lighthearted and clever theme. And, you know, Aqua, as Ron was saying, Aqua has done some really off the wall themes through the years. They've done babies, they've done over the road truckers, firemen, you know, and many others. They really have a reputation. Aqua does, and I'd put Durning in that category as well. They've both really tried really unusual themes. But for this one, and the other animal themes that we'll be talking about tonight, this is one of the challenges of an animal theme, is when you are using the not makeup. So you're using the actual band member's face and head to add an animal head to the member's head. You know, how do you obscure the face in the right way so that in this case we'd be looking at the duck's head, focusing on that, not looking at the member's, you know, face. And also you've got to think about, as we talked about a couple of weeks ago with the space theme with the helmets, for this you have to think about also the combination of obscuring, and then you want to see the animal, but the sax players have to be able to play, everybody's got to be able to hear. So it's not an easy task. It's not something that's easy to do. What Aqua did with this theme, as you saw, is they used white ski masks and then blended sort of the duck head above that, kind of blended in. So all you saw were the guy's, you know, eyes, nose, and the opening for the mouth, the white ski mask. Now, you know, if we're going to really be a little picky with this, when the band members were playing straight on, if they tilted their head down just a little bit, you really did almost not see that. The way it was shadowing, really just saw the duck's head, but not always, not through the whole theme. So, you know, that might have been something that the judges looked at. They also did a great job, I have to say, with the legs, which was an interesting thing to approach, the legs, and the webbed feet, which was not an easy feat, get it? And then I also love the excellent back pieces. And two of my favorite songs that were really fun, novelty songs, 2 novelty songs. Again, this is one of those things where then the audience, the crowd starts singing. Splish Splash and Rubber Ducky they used. So what did you think of it, Ron?
You know, honestly, I get it. I didn't get it then. I didn't get it now. But what I did get was how much fun it was. The costume is really cool. It's almost like, and this is not the first time Aqua's done this. I mean, if you go back to 1982, when they did the space theme, Aqua's Out of This World or something like that, I think they called it. They were space creatures, and they wore a purple ski mask over their face because their heads were actually in the mouth of the alien. So that was pretty cool there. And one other time I saw it done, which was in recent years, and it really worked out for them well, was Hageman String Band just did the Codfather, that fish theme they did quite a few years ago. And the hats, they were concerned. I remember them being concerned that the hats were tilted back a little bit, which would give you that impression where you could see their face. But the judge's view on them, really cool effect it turned out to be. The rest of the theme, I didn't get too many references. I got the Peking duck. That was kind of cute. I didn't know why they weren't orange, because when they cook those ducks in China, they're hanging in a window and they're orange.
Okay.
But yeah, right? So, but here's something really funny. I don't know how I came into possession to it, but I had one of those costumes. Not only wore it to my job then, I won first prize in the costume contest for Halloween at that job years ago. And I wore it Halloween day to take my nieces, nephews, and my daughter trick-or-treating. So this is the picture of me in that costume with my daughter. Can you see that?
Yeah. Wow.
That was a really cool costume. really, really cool.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
the yellow leotard,
For the legs and the feet, yeah.
the feet that were a feet
The
were
feet that
spats.
were
That's
the
all they
feet that
were.
were a
But
feet.
really great, very enjoyable to watch the theme, and a lot of fun, and just very typical of the great fun products that Aqua puts
Aqua
out.
has put out for sure. So next up, we're actually going to do a kind of a duet here, duos. So we're highlighting two bands. Now, these two bands actually started out as competitors. Then they ended up merging, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. But first up, it's the South Jersey String Band with their 1986 show, Thank God I'm a Country Bear.
This is going to be a very unusual theme. The entire band is dressed as bears.
Look at those faces. Here they are, South Jersey String Band for 1986.
That was fantastic. That was a fantastic performance, clearly inspired by the Country Bear Jamboree in Disney World. And you know, it's a great attraction down there. And every one of those paper mache heads was made by future captain of the band, Mary Shaw, and we'll talk about her in a later program, but she was like the queen of paper mache, and all of those costumes were made in-house. If you could talk to some of the people that were there at the time, one of my friends, Tom Garrity, talks about New Year's morning, they were actually stapling fur to the bottom of shorts that they were making them that morning to get this band on the street and prepared for this this show.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing I want to note is that there is there's one bear that's in the front of the band for a good portion of the show, and he's a little kid at the time, finest saxophone players in all of string bands. Again, this was another theme that's very chancy when you're putting a heavy paper mache on top of your head. The fur is coming down around your face to conceal your face inside the neck of the animal. And it does pose certain issues that could come about, good, bad, or indifferent. But the performance is great, and to my knowledge, they finished very high with that to a fifth prize finish.
Fifth prize. Now, who did you say was the little boy, the child at the time? What was his name?
John McDevitt.
John McDevitt. Cool.
He is now a member of the Fralinger String Band, and very popular guy.
Great. Well, a couple things I think it's important that we make note of for the South Jersey String Band. Of course, you mentioned Mary. So it was one of the foremost forerunners of being a co-ed organization, a co-ed band. Had many female members. And as you said, I in looking back at it, not having watched it for a long time, I think they really met the challenge of authentically portraying the Bears. Musically, I was really struck by their inclusion of Aaron Copland's Rodeo. I mean, this is a very famous ballet composition. It's difficult to play under the best of circumstances, let alone, with the unique string band, instrumentation and complement. And they did do it. They did it very well. And as you said, I enjoyed Country Bear Jamboree is one of my favorite attractions, in Disney World. I've probably been to it, a dozen times. It makes you feel good. It's for the young and for the young at heart. It just makes you feel good. And just from the moment they started this performance to the end, I was just, I was smiling. So good job, South Jersey. What's next, Ron?
Well, it's South Jersey, but now coupled with Palmyra String Band. Just a few years after that, that was 1985, correct? And then we go to 1990, South Jersey String Band couples with the Palmyra String Band, because they're all in the same geographical location of South Jersey down in Berlin, and it just made sense. So South Jersey Palmyra String Band doing yet another animal theme. It's called South Jersey Palmyra Going to the Dogs.
The Palmyra South Jersey String Band.
All right, now here's a theme that how subjective this theme could be and how wide open it is. Because if you look at the dogs that they've chosen to do, I mean, there's 100 breeds of dogs, and it seems, and Jim and I are both huge dog lovers. Jim's got Zane, right? You got Zane over there at your house, and right now I got my dogs locked up, Banjo and Molly Bell. They're locked up because they'd be all over the place and I wouldn't be able to do the show. But anyway, this is a great performance. This is under the musical direction and arrangement of Brian Saunders. If you don't know who Brian Saunders is, he is one of the best saxophone players around these areas, bar none. This guy is the saxophone player for the Eagles Pep Band as well. He's arranged music for not only South Jersey, Palmyra, but Hageman and a few others, just to name the couple that I did. But this is a great group of people with a huge amount of talent. And like Aqua, this is an incredibly creative group. And you look at their tail of the tape of their theme selections, boy, they put things out there from Smurfs to Mary Poppins. It's just a great band, great creative people. The Geyser family, and one-time drill master who was very instrumental in this band is Bob Schul. And Bob Schul, fantastic guy as well. And
yeah, Bob Schul was the drill master for Hageman.
Yeah.
For many years when I was in Hageman. So let's make a couple of historical notes here. So this Palmyra string, the Palmyra South Jersey combination, the combined band makes it a brand new band. So they do have the record for the highest finish for a new band marching in its first parade, second place. They finished second to Polish Americans' Are You From Dixie theme for 1990. Also, separately, so Palmyra is one of only 3 non-association bands to have won first prize, and we'll be talking about those bands in an upcoming show. They won in 1972 with King Momus and His Subjects. I thought it was, to me, as you said, amazing how they were able to incorporate, all these different dog breeds and then have the appropriate costume and movement. So I'll tick through them. There was the Scotty, the Irish Setter, St. Bernard, love the St. Bernard with the angel wings. Boxer for Rocky, cool. Elvis, Hound Dog. And this is, I think, a noteworthy thing because I think we will see that through the years as we talk about themes that are able to utilize the can-can. So the French Poodles come out, they do the can-can. Many bands through the years for various types of international themes or where a theme is a combo theme and there's an international component have used this can-can really to great effect. as either the conclusion or leading into the finale of the show. There's something about this song and the dancing of the can-can. There's something about the energy and the momentum that just kind of takes these performances to the next level. So anyway, that's Palmyra, South Jersey for 1990.
It's now my honor and my pleasure to introduce our special guest to the show tonight, my big brother, Tom King. How you doing tonight, Tom?
I'm doing great. How you guys doing? Jim, you all right?
Yes, we're good. We're good. We're happy to have you.
I've been watching your show, and I got to tell you, man, it's really great to have this kind of a show during our missed out Mum Sundays, you know, so at least we had this to look forward to, and seeing different guests. Your show last week with Bull Bum was really tremendous. You guys are doing a good job. Keep it up.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, Tom, as you know, the show is about animal themes. And when Jim and I discussed this, the very foundation of the show was Ferko's Silly Symphony. So what we're going to do before we get into it, we're going to take a look at 1985's second prize Ferko string band, first prize Captain, Silly Symphony. man. Fantastic. I love this show. We spoke of 1985 in the first segment of the show that we did, where the competition was very intense between the bands then, and we spoke about the difference maker in that parade. Now, this is also an opinion program, so we got to throw them out there once in a while.
Right.
If Bob Shannon does not dance with Quaker City, Ferko wins. That's the only difference. I mean, but when we're talking about this animal theme, Jim and I were talking about other bands with the costuming. Now, the costuming for the band, I've worn that. I mean, you remember that short period of time that I came over to Ferko, and I wore that turtle costume. Now, that turtle costume was not comfortable at all.
Nah,
The heads were cumbersome. The back piece was heavy. But the band performs at a level for that period of time anyway, that this was a band that was not going to be defeated that day, not by the costumes anyway. So that was all a lot of fun to watch. The music's outstanding. The selection of animals. So let's go back to the beginning. For you anyway, before we get further into the theme, because I want you to answer some important questions, and then I want you to set the record straight for a couple other things. Let's go back to 1958, I believe you said was your first year. How did you get started? Who got you started in this?
Well, Dad, of course. We used to watch him teach horn players every Monday night at the house. And then I had went over with Grandma for a while because Dad had too many kids and we couldn't fit in the house. So we took turns going to Grandma's. And for Christmas, Dad and Grandma had bought me a banjo. But before then, Jimmy King, my cousin, started me on ukulele. And we used to take the ukulele strings off and put regular banjo strings on there. And I really started that way, learning chords and doing that. And then I went to banjo in 1958. I joined Garden State. My first year up was 59.
1959. Now I have a picture of you. I think it's 1960 or 61, playing banjo in line with rock and roll, the rock and roll theme, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to take you from that year, and I'm going to jump right up to 1976. When you become the drill master of Ferko String Band. And at that time, I don't know exactly what you were calling each other, but I believe Bill would have been your co-show director, or you were both co-show directors.
We both are.
Tell us about that meeting between you and Bill and your partnership working on shows with him.
Well, 76, of course, we came off of a 13th prize victory. And, I think a lot of guys got disgusted, and we felt we needed to change somewhere along the line. So I think John Gilbert felt the same way, because John Gilbert was an amazing man. But he knew there sort of had to be a change. I think I got that picture from that. So me and Billy both ran for drill master, and I don't want to say what the votes were, but one was much higher than the other one. So Speed Schaefer, which was our president, brought us both in the back room and said, could you guys do me a favor? We're coming off a bad year. We had a new musical director come in, and he said, would you guys mind sharing that position, being both co-directors? I looked at Billy, I said, I have no problem with it. Billy said, I have no problem with it either. And that's the way it kicked off. And we just respected one another. We respected one another's opinions, and we sort of knew both talents. Like Billy was so good at like moving stuff in and out, hiding suits, doing that, where I was teaching steps and and it was just an incredible time with me and Bill.
Which is kind of it's a cool statement to make there, because I would have thought it would have been the other way around, because Billy was the true dancer and you were the true drill master. I mean, that's right. The symbiotic situation going on there, where you complement each other with those talents. So let's bring us right up to 1985, or actually 1984. Who brings Silly Symphony to your table? Who brings that theme to Ferko?
Bob Finnegan tried to get Ferko to do that theme for 7 years. And
Wow.
we said 7 years. And he brought the pictures up. And I believe it was Marty Goodturn. I said, I ain't wearing no, going to be no animal. And I was like, oh, you ain't put me in an animal suit, you know, because back at that time, that wasn't really done. Mm-hmm. I mean, there were animal themes like peacocks done and sort of things like that, but not to that big of a suit. And guys looking at it, no way, no way. So finally, 1984, Bob throws them pictures down on the table again. He said, you're missing a boat here, guys. This time here, if you don't take it, I'm going to give them to somebody else. And we looked at it. And we got.
Was the conductor character that you played, was that always in the show, no, or was that something that came up later?
That came up later. That came up later. And so I wasn't going to wear an animal suit, so I got out of it. Nah.
So
the conductor was never going to be a creature.
No, it wasn't in the theme. I had brought it up. I said, and I did say, I said, listen, not that I'm, you know, any better. I said, but I feel that we should have a straight guy there, a guy that teaches the animals, yes, you know.
Yes.
And everybody started thinking about it, you know, and the guys were a little bit aggravated because I was getting out of it, but they knew it was for the best. So and so I wanted to be that crazy guy with the hair, that really a big part, and it, make it a part through the whole entire show. And where it wasn't overbearing, but it was just enough tasteful enough to say, wow,
yeah,
that's pretty.
And by this point, so by this year, this was then Billy Speziale's fourth or fifth year.
He was
as captain.
He was 80 was his first, so 80, 81, 82, 83. This would have been his sixth year.
Okay.
It would have been his sixth year.
So his role evolved from being the co-show director with you, and then he gets elected captain when Joe Blass,
stepped out of 79. So 1980 was Billy's first year.
Yeah.
And
so Billy comes to the forefront in a way that we hadn't seen captains do before during Tim Pan Alley. I know this is about the animal theme, but we want to lock down in on you and Billy and this animal theme. So I'm going to just bring it there real quick. Billy comes out at the end of Tim Pan Alley, and he's the first captain to really come out and do choreographed dancing in that manner. And that kind of starts changing things. And you can see the progression from Tim Pan Alley to G.I. Jive to the Bowery and so forth. And now we come to this. Now Billy's in this elaborate lion costume. I mean, it's one of the most beautiful captain costumes ever worn.
5,200 hours worth.
How much?
5,200 hours worth.
Yeah, it looks more expensive than that. Trust me.
Back at that time.
So how did you work with Billy with that long cape? And now you have a membership that you're drilling the band that they can't really see left and right and everything like that with these heads. I remember, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, there was a story that, did Johnny Jordan get lost out in front of the band because he couldn't see?
Yes. What had happened that year, Billy, for some reason, wasn't the drill master that year. He just wanted to be captain. And I don't know what the reason was. So he said, can you take us over this year? I said, yeah. So I did all the choreographing on that whole show, although I had Danny Quayle that came over and helped me out with the dances, which is Danny Quayle, come on, you know, one of the top guys, you know. Yeah. He was scary every year, but I had him come over and help me out, and he did. And so Billy, his suit was drawn already for the lion, King of the Jungle, and we never knew his cape was going to be that big. I mean, that was, of course, you wore one, you don't know how uncomfortable it can be, and you're scared to death to do what you want to do. That's why we got that thing off him as soon as possible. But yes, you're right. When he came out in front of the band and his cape spun around, Johnny Jordan was looking for him and lost him. he totally lost him. Now, Johnny got so spun around, he didn't know which way the band was because that's how bad those heads were. I mean, that we rehearsed with them inside and out. We had to take them back out and make the holes bigger and put mesh in them. It was really, really a very difficult, but the band did it, and I was proud of them.
Who was the costumer? Who was the costumer for that year?
Jimmy Mack, of course. And come on, and at that time he was doing great suits.
Do you
Now,
think,
Tom, can you take a moment now and set the record straight for and believe me, there's going to be a lot of people watching this, and the reason they're not watching this show because of me and Jim, they're watching this show because they know you're going to be on it.
Yeah.
Tell us the story of the Blackberry Brandy.
That story, I tried to lie. I tried to do everything, but you know, I just said, is that the only thing you remember me for in that whole entire show? But the true story, actually what happened, I want to put this to rest. Every year, I'd have a flask of Blackberry Brandy and I put it in the lead car. And when we got up to, of course, that was Washington Avenue at that time, yet you stood there 20 minutes, a half an hour. You could grab a sandwich, a soup, you went to the bathroom. So I always used to get the captain, my helpers, the drill master, music committee, musical directors, and get them all together. And they already knew it. And we have a quick shot, a toast. Somehow, from what I can remember, the only thing I could have went wrong there, guys, we got to go, we got to move. All right, I'm blowing the whistle. I put it in my back pocket and totally forgot about taking it out. You know, but I know one thing, I'm the only guy to ever have shot Blackberry Brandy on New Year's Day, correct? But yeah, that's the true story. That's what happened.
I know that you didn't get disqualified for having alcohol on you during the course of the parade, so that's a good thing.
Right.
So, Jim, you have any more questions for Tom?
I wanted to say about the Lions costume. So, I mean, that really became an iconic costume. I know it was, you know, it was in the Mummers Museum for a long time. It may still be. I mean, it was
Probably, yeah.
in that Broad Street room for many, many years because it was breathtaking. So you said $5,200. That was likely probably the most expensive captain's costume up to that time.
Absolutely.
Up to that point. I'm trying to imagine what would that $5,200 be in 2020 dollars, do you think? How much do you think that costume would cost?
Today's parade?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I think I'll go back to 2000. It would probably went for 15 grand. You know?
Wow.
You know, today, because everything is really coming down. If
That's
you notice,
true. You're right.
You know.
Yeah, we have some stripped down. So let's just talk about, obviously we lost Billy Speziale a couple of years ago, and you know, sadly for that family, we also lost his sister Lorraine Speziale more recently. You know, very sad, very tragic, you know, for that family. I mean, they were two.
And then they just lost their mother.
And their mother, yeah.
They just lost their mother, yeah. Her mother, I mean, the mother seen two of her children pass away. It's not supposed to be that way.
No,
But
they
Billy,
do say, they say that's the hardest. The hardest thing is to lose a child. But the brother and sister were really unique. I can't think, do we have even another brother and sister act among string bands like that were so influential in movement and in choreography?
And Woolin, Franny Carr, or Maddie Carr, and Kimberly Carr.
Okay.
When she does our choreography, she's very good. Very good, yeah.
Let's not forget, back then, Billy was, I don't think it was Lorraine. I think it was another dancing partner, but he was on some dance competition show. What was that show?
Oh, yeah.
Because he wore his all aboard for
Dance
Dixie
Fever.
costume.
Dance Fever, yeah.
Dance Fever.
Yeah, I remember. Wait,
yeah, remember that?
Denny Terrio was the host.
Denny Terrio
was the host. Yeah, he was on with, yeah, he was. But
Yeah.
just for those who, Tom, for those who really admired and respected Billy,
Yeah.
just, so that was an interesting way for the partnership to start. What are your memories? What are your best memories of the partnership over the years?
Just the kind of a guy he is. I mean, he's a tremendous man. I don't think we ever had any kind of an argument. I mean, we worked together well. I used to help him and he helped me. That's the bottom line. I mean, we used to do drills with bingo chips, and I bring all the bingo chips over to his house. And I line them up and this and that. Well, here's what I was thinking, Bill. And what if we did this? And Bill said, you know what? I like it, but watch this. What do we build these two guys for? You know what I mean? And that's the way we worked, and it worked out well. I did most of the teaching. That's what I meant by this, Ronnie Wayne. I said I did most of the drill guys, what moving guys around. Yeah. Billy did most of the getting people in and out. Like if I say, look, I want this suit to come out from here, Billy figured a way to get him in there and get it out. You know what I mean? Yeah. But it was good. It was a great thing. It's something I cherish. I was sad to see Billy in his last years living, how this disease affected him, but he still remembered me. He said, you were a tyrant, man. I mean, we broke more rules, If it didn't say it, we did it.
So this has been really terrific, spending this time with Tom and talking about all these animal attractions. Of course, there are so many other themes that fit the bill for tonight's show. So here are a few of our other favorites. So again, we want to thank you, Tom, for joining us tonight and sharing your memories, helping us pay tribute to Bill Speziale. We'll definitely be seeing Tom again. We've got a number of episodes planned for the future, and Tom's been involved in a lot of innovations in the string bands with several different bands, so we are going to have him come back and join us. Also, please remember to support our sponsor, the Kitchen Conciliary Cafe in Collingswood, New Jersey. Think about, with the holidays approaching, make sure to get your reservations in early to Angelo and his team. Try to celebrate with a terrific meal and a dining experience. And oh, by the way, just this past Thursday was Angelo's birthday. So Angelo, we all wish you happy birthday and a great year ahead.
Happy birthday, Ange.
Happy birthday, happy birthday. Starting next week, Ange will be offering all of you viewers of our show a chance to win a gift card. So we'll tell you more about that next week. We did experience some technical difficulties and challenges tonight. We apologize for those. Hopefully it will, not interfere with your enjoyment of this episode, and of course, with our very, very special guest, literally a member of the Stringing Along family, Tom King. So with that, we say so long. We will see you next week for the episode 5 of Stringing Along. Good night, everybody.
See you guys.